let's talk some more about poor shaming. So I have already mentioned poor shaming here on my channel, and I have thought about it a little bit more, and many of the habits we have stem from poor shaming. This is when we shame ourselves for being poor, and this happens usually through the criticisms and judgments that we may apply to ourselves when examining or analyzing the way we present to the world. So this is where the whole brand mania comes into play. So if you have ever been annoyed by someone's desire to get all the cool brands, or maybe you yourself wanted to invest in some kind of a designer piece, then you'll know what I'm talking about. There is much harm in this mindset. If you crave expensive things, I think that it might stem from propaganda. Sometimes you will enjoy a certain piece from the aesthetics point of view. You just like the way it looks and it makes you feel a certain way. So there's nothing particularly wrong with that. However, most of the time, more often than not, if you strip the label off of something, be it an item of clothing, an accessory, whatever it might be, if you strip the label off of it, somehow it loses its value. So let me give you this hypothetical scenario. Let's say you're presented with two items of shirts, let's say. So you're given two shirts to choose from, and they look nearly identical. Maybe there's some little design differences, and maybe the cut is a little bit different, and there are no tags on the shirts whatsoever. They're just shirts. So you will choose according to the aesthetic, according to the fit, the comfort level of the shirt, and you will most likely not be able to tell which one is designer and which one is not. And when after you have made your selection, it is revealed that what you picked was designer or not, it's probably not going to make that much of a difference, right? Like, if you've chosen the cheaper version of a shirt, you're probably not going to be like, oh no, now I hate this shirt because it's cheap. So I wish that we all realize that brand names have nothing to do with value. Yes, there are certainly differences in quality in many household items. However, modern capitalist propaganda wants you to believe that the higher price tag somehow corresponds with quality. And if you've ever used any designer items, you probably know that quality is not always there. It's just not. So how does this connect to poor shaming? Well, if you think about how much energy some people spend on seeking out those designer brand items, you'll realize that many of them do this because they don't want to appear poor, because they want to create that image of themselves that they think is somehow cooler. And this is a form of poor shaming because they themselves don't want to appear poor to others, even if they are. Don't you think it's ridiculous? If you're poor, there's no shame in that. It's most likely not your fault that you cannot compete ruthlessly with others and that you're not willing to sell your soul for money. There's no shame in that. However, the propaganda wants you to believe that it is shameful not to have such and such items. It is shameful to dress in a certain manner. So I want us all to realize that it really doesn't matter what brand names you're wearing. It really doesn't matter what the brand of your car is. And it shouldn't matter. And I wish we all could focus our energy and resources on something that matters, which is fighting capitalism.